Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora, Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna! Welcome, dear devotees, to the Sunday program. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Sonntagsfest. Gibt es jemand, der kein Englisch versteht? Wir machen eine Übersetzung, ja. We would like to welcome as a group. We have a special group today from Mitmenstetten. It's a youth group, as you can see. Almost all of them are quite young. It's a katholisches Pfarramt, and they come to learn about Hinduism, Krishna consciousness. So we try to give them a little bit of an insight in our program here on Sunday. But we will leave a little earlier and have a separate part. But they will be here till 8 o'clock. And want to thank you for visiting today. And if you need anything, if you have any questions, usually everyone is very eager to help. So, Hare Krishna. So now we're going to have a lecture, and we have a special guest, His Grace Jagannath Priya Prabhu. I think he should just be here every moment. Maybe still he's here. I will just give a brief introduction already now. Jagannath Priya Prabhu, he has been coming to Zurich for 10 years, I believe. He's from India originally, that he's a monk, and he serves there in a temple, but he's also traveling to the West regularly, and he likes to make stops in Zurich. He has friends here, and meanwhile he also has friends in the temple, so that's why he usually makes a stop and he gives some lectures. He joined the Krishna consciousness movement in the beginning of the 2000s, and he's from Mumbai. And currently he's involved in one place in India. Unfortunately, I forgot the name. They opened a new temple, and he's involved as the leader of this community. And at the same time, so he spends half of his time in India, and then approximately half of the other time he's in New York. In New York, there is a temple or a center called the Bhakti Center. Many of you have heard of that place, and he's involved in community development in this place. So let us welcome him by loudly chanting, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So Jagannath Priya Prabhu will speak on the topic Bhakti Essentials. Thank you, Prabhu, for taking the time, and welcome back. Hare Krishna.
Can we have the 11th canto?
Yeah, sure.
In chapter 20, so I think it is second part.
Okay.
Chapter 20.
We have a small group of youth from a Catholic school. They came for a temple tour today, and we will be here for half of the lecture.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we'll have a bit of the traditional prayers which we do to invoke the blessings of the ancient teachers who have revealed this truth unto us, seeking the blessings from them and also the blessings of their lordships. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the participants, the devotees who have come here to New Jagannath Puri Dham in Zurich for this Sunday evening program. I am also very grateful to Krishna Prema Rupa Prabhu and Damodar Prasad Prabhu and all the devotees, the managing committee here, who have been taking care of this wonderful place for so many years now, to host me here this evening. Thank you for this opportunity. Also very welcome to all those who have come for the first time here. So is it your first time visiting any temple of this kind? Okay. It must be a lot of colors for you today. So we are discussing the topic of Bhakti essentials, about the topic of Bhakti Yoga. Those of you who are already familiar with what is Bhakti Yoga already know this. All aspects of knowledge and understanding, all these kinds of books and literatures are designed by one species, which is the human species. All the other species are very knowledgeable and smart within their own instincts. Apart from their instinctual knowledge, they have nothing else. But human beings have an extraordinary intellect. And therefore, we have been blessed to seek, to pursue, and understand truths beyond what we see and what we hear. And therefore, all these scriptures or the literatures come into being just so that an element or an entity, a human, I consider a human being also a kind of an element. Like you have seen, you have heard about radioactive elements, right? You know what is a radioactive element? Have you come across a radioactive element? No. Otherwise, we'll have to be away from you. If you have come in touch with radium of radium-238 or something like that. So radioactive element means that element which radiates too much energy. So amongst all the species of life, the living entity, when the form of a human being, is a highly active element. It can disrupt, it can create things which are unthinkable, unheard of by any other species. And therefore, just like amongst all the elements, when you have a highly radioactive element, it needs to be treated well. The quality or the energy of being highly radioactive is not a discrepancy in itself. But if you leave it unattended, then it can become destructive by itself. And therefore, for an entity like a human being, it requires some kind of culture. These days, or in the modern times, let's say after 1960s, the idea to break free of all traditions and cultures was romanticized in the society heavily. And rebellion, breaking of traditions, was considered to be an evolving concept. And it's been hardly just about 50, 60 years after the advent of that kind of idea that the society is already falling apart in just 50, 60 years. And the original ideas are being rethought about. People are already looking back to it. Of course, there is a concern that we do not want to become too old-fashioned. But then people are already recognizing that just navigating your life with the modern sense of ideas is not truly making deeper sense. It can give you some food, clothing, shelter for sure, but it cannot provide value, a deeper sense of value. And therefore, this idea of culture is presented in every scripture. So the culturing of the actions, how to behave, how to talk, those are the mannerisms. But how to engage our actions for a better purpose, or for a meaningful purpose, for a deeper purpose. So in the Vedic literature, this is called as karma yoga, or actions, when performed in a cultural sense, brings us closer to our own self and naturally also closer to God. The idea of God in the Vedic literatures is not foreign to oneself. If you are not closer to yourself, you can never get closer to God. It is impossible. Probably you can build big churches and big temples all over the world, accomplish things outside. But if you are not closer to yourself within, you cannot get closer to God. It is just not possible. And this is also one of the reasons why all over the world you hear all kinds of discrepancies, even in religious structures of all the religions of the world. Big, big buildings, big, big positions, empty hearts within. So, the idea of God being so away from us, some distant, far entity, is not a very good idea. It's not true. That's why we say God within the heart. So once you start getting closer to your own self, you automatically start getting closer to God. And therefore, when Krishna, for those of you who must have heard this name first, he is the God in the Vedic literatures. When Krishna tries to give the message to Arjun, he is not trying to tell Arjuna, the listener, that, oh, look at me, I am God. Look at my form. No, that's not what he tries to tell. Although you are seeing me, you will never be able to perceive me properly. Seeing and perceiving are two different things. You can be so closer to someone who is good, but you may not value his goodness because you cannot perceive him properly. So perception requires so many things. Perception requires purification of one's actions. Perception requires purifications of one's intellect. How you think, what is your orientation. And perception also requires how you process your own emotions. So culturing of one's action is called as karma yoga. Culturing one's intellect is called as jnana yoga. And culturing one's emotions is called as bhakti yoga. So bhakti is nothing but developing our emotions in very subtle, refined ways. Srimad Bhagavatam is such a book which is teaching that aspect of culturing of the emotions, which is also the topic today, Bhakti Essentials. What are those essential elements which we could focus on so that we develop a proper emotional culture? Today, mankind as a whole is highly informed. We have too much intelligence. On addition to that, we have artificial intelligence, which is already coming up. I don't know how many of you have spent time with those tools. I have at least worked with 20 of the different kinds of tools in the AI which are currently developed in all fields of audio and visuals and text and all. I must say this, AI is underhyped. Most people don't even know what's coming out. It's going to be one of the greatest revolutions which mankind has produced after the advent of electricity. Because nothing is going to be so disruptive. It's unbelievable, extraordinarily designed, probably a demon, who knows what it will become. So we do not lack information and intelligence today. In fact, intelligence has become so strong that it has got outsourced. Now you don't need to think. Earlier tools were outsourced, you only needed to think because you now had a calculator. You had some cooking kitchen utensils, nice gas stove or some nice food processors and so on. So you just need to think of a recipe, you have all the tools in hand. Most of these tools were not there 50, 60 years ago. Today you don't need to think. AI will develop great recipes for you. We run temples, so I know the pressure of running a temple. I have already been contemplating, after 10 years we'll have people, we'll have robots who will do most of the things. It will become easier. Intelligence is getting outsourced. You can do that probably. You can hire also people for that. But what can you do for emotions? It can never get outsourced. Satisfaction can never get outsourced. You feel satisfied for me. It can never work. You sleep for me. You be happy for me. That cannot help. You think for me. You work for me. That is possible. Not at emotional level. Nothing can be outsourced. We have to work upon selves for that. Otherwise it is not possible. I heard about a story on one quote of Einstein, which Albert Einstein, he said, someday mankind has to put this question on oneself. Do I live in a friendly or a hostile universe? And this idea came about, which we also discussed in the other day in the Bhagavatam class in the morning, that this whole world is a manifestation of consciousness of people. How you see and perceive the world is also how the world will start acting and behaving with you. How you look at things will also determine how the things or how the change will come about to you. If you always look at things to be changed externally, the things will change externally only, not internally at all. If you want things to be seen differently, you have to make the changes from within. How you perceive the world is extremely important. Very, very important. I heard about a story. Just think about this, conceptualize. There was a man who was in his house doing some work and he had to go out somewhere. And he picked up the keys for his car. And suddenly, due to some reason, some lightning struck and so on, and therefore, suddenly there was a blackout. The electricity went off. Now, this is not an issue right now here. But 50 years ago, it was common thing. It used to happen. So think about this. Think that you are that person or you see such a person like that. The light went off. And in that commotion, he dropped the key somewhere. And it was such pitch dark that he could not just locate it. So this guy, after searching for a while in that place, he thought, let me look outside and see. This is what most people do. is it only my house which is out of order, or it's the whole town or the city? So he looks out of the window and he sees, oh, there are some street lights. So instead of being in the darkness of his house, he leaves his house and goes on the street. And under the street light, he keeps searching something. So meanwhile, the neighbor, who is also in darkness in the house, he also comes and says, what is happening? What are you searching here? He says, oh, I lost my keys. So the neighbor asks, oh, let me help you to find. And they are searching there. Seeing that, the other neighbor also joins in. That these people are searching something under the street light. And eventually a couple of them join, and then they ask him, but where exactly did you drop the keys? So he says, I dropped the keys in my house. So what is the next obvious question? Then why are you searching here? You are looking at the wrong place. People laughed at him. He said that because I lost it out and it was anyways dark there was no point putting effort there, so I thought let me put effort wherever I can see something. But does it make sense? It makes no sense. But most of us live our life like that. There is darkness inside, we have lost something inside, but because we cannot perceive it properly and we become hopeless, so might as well wherever I see something, let me put efforts there. And that is what most people, most of us, we have our journeys like that. What we are searching for is within, but we are searching somewhere outside because it's easier. Here it's a bit dark, we have to wait, we have to work, we have to struggle. But when you will never get what you want outside. No matter how light and how well lit and how well decorated and how much support you have of people to buy you an expensive house or expensive facilities or something. You have the whole world to give you those facilities. You will never achieve because you lost something somewhere else. And that's the whole idea of, the whole concept of Bhakti Yoga is based on this idea. That emotions can be cultured only when one's heart is set well within. It can never be a work which is done from the external aspects. It is just not possible. And therefore Krishna, although he as God is present right in front of Arjun, he is telling Arjun, you work on your actions, you work on your intellect and work on your emotions. He is not telling that give up all your intelligence, give up all your actions and just I am here in front of you, you have achieved everything. The experience of the truth is an extremely important aspect. Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, he was once asked by one person who told him, Prabhupada, have you seen Krishna? Because I know when we were young, like I see so many younger boys and girls, our first question was, have you seen God? And they would have asked their own mentors, have you seen Jesus? Isn't it? When you say God in heaven, they say, okay, where is heaven? Where is God? It's natural for all of us to ask this question. So someone asked this to Prabhupada, have you seen Krishna? He said, yes. But then he told, it doesn't matter whether I saw him or not. Because unless you experience it, it will mean nothing. So I can actually give you a process, I can tell you a process which will help you to experience him. Seeing may come whenever it may come. The important point is experiencing, which I spoke about perceiving the truth. So, I'll just read this verse, text number 27 and 28 from canto 11 from the 20th chapter entitled Pure Devotional Service. Jata shraddho mat kathasu nirvinnah sarva karmasu veda dukkhatmakam kamam parityagepi anishvaraha. Having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, being disgusted with all material activities, and knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, my devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. So I'll read the first sentence again. It's very beautiful, very comforting to all of us. Having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories. So here we are talking about person who already has some faith. And he's also attracted to hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Second, being disgusted with all material activities. So I have faith in God, and I also do not have much faith in material activities, and I'm not so attracted to it anymore. Of course, for the sake of essentials, it's fine, but I'm not like overwhelmed and fascinated by it. That is what is called being disgusted with material activities. Third, knowing that sense gratification ultimately leads to misery. And the fourth and most important, but still, after having faith, after being not so attracted with the material energy, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment. I think we all are more or less struggling with that, right? Knowing everything, but we cannot give up. So in such a condition, what happens that the devotee is continuously struggling within himself. Because you know what is right, but you cannot just fully do it. You know what is wrong, but you cannot fully give it up. So there is some internal conflict. The more advanced you are, the conflict minimizes. The more sincere you are, the conflict increases. So the more sincere you are, conflict increases, and if you succeed in the conflict, then you are advanced. That's the whole idea. So in this struggle, there will be some internal dissatisfaction. So Krishna is saying, don't worry. Because it's a journey, right? He says, okay, my devotee should still remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Okay, I am struggling, no problem. I should continue. Put little tiny bit efforts. I love this verse because it's my condition. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment. So we all are engaged in different forms of sense enjoyment. We all have some weaknesses somewhere. Okay. But he knows that all gratification leads to miserable result, and he sincerely repents. So purport. The beginning stage of pure devotional service is described here by the Lord. A sincere devotee has practically seen that all material activities lead only to sense gratification, and all sense gratification leads only to misery. Thus, a devotee's sincere desire is to engage 24 hours a day in loving service of Krishna without any personal motivation. The devotee sincerely desires to be established in his constitutional position as the Lord's eternal servitor. And he prays to the Lord to elevate him to this exalted position. We all do that, isn't it? We keep praying, my dear Lord, please, please make me advance, please get me liberated from this problem, and so on. We all want to be engaged in devotional service. When I pray to Krishna, one of my prayers always is, if you don't keep me attracted to you, there are so many people and so many things around me to keep attracted. So make sure you do your job well. Because it's a struggle. That's the only struggle a devotee has in the journey of life. He knows that he's trapped. He knows that he's being torn and pulled in so many different directions. And what makes us dry and not so nourished within? We feel no attraction. So I fought with myself for many years and then I gave up. So this is the only prayer I do. My dear Lord, keep me attracted, keep me engaged. Otherwise, I am not going to fight the world. I don't have that capacity to fully, I'll never win. At least for myself. I am not a yogi who is engaged in tapasya 10,000 years or hundreds of years, starving myself. It's not possible. I am a person who is eating such nice delicacies. Prasadam. I am engaged with music. I am engaged with colors, colorful people. With all different varieties and talents and so on. I am not a yogi who is starving himself from everything. And because my mind and senses are not engaged with anything in the world, I cannot think of anything else. That's not me. And therefore, I have outsourced that. So far Krishna is, I think, obliging me nicely. I hope he continues. Anyways. So, the word Anishwara indicates that because of one's past sinful activities and bad habits, one may not immediately be able to completely extinguish the enjoying spirit. How many of you feel like that? It doesn't get extinguished. And for all of us, there may be some habits which we have not been able to give up at all. I know that I have given up about maybe 95% of the bad habits which I felt were bad. My gurus may see more bad, but I am saying from myself what I have. But there are some habits which I have not given up from day one. They are still there. The external things are easy to give up. Following some 4 regulatory principles and eating Krishna Prasad, all those things are easier aspects. But then the subtle aspects, like not feeling envious, not feeling egoistic, not feeling unkind, not having a complete humble spirit. These are very difficult. Wanting to lord over the material nature, wanting to be that special person everywhere, seeking honor and prestige. These are very difficult things, right? It's easier to just stop smoking. Easier to stop drinking. But how to stop these things? Very difficult. So, yeah. The Lord encourages. So, not able to completely extinguish the enjoying spirit. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, a person who is egoistic has this mentality, the Ishwaraham aham bhogi, Balvanaha aham sukhi. That I am the Lord of all that I perceive, all that I supervise. My temple, my area, my department, my house, my business. So you are the small little Lord. We cannot completely extinguish that spirit. How many of us can always be in that mood that this body is just a vehicle? I am just a tenant. Our scriptures say that you are a tenant in this body. You do not own anything. Someday it's going to you. How many of us feel like that? When you wake up in the morning, do you feel that you are a tenant in the body? That you are someone else? You feel that you are the body. It is so difficult to feel that I am the tenant. So that's what. To extinguish the enjoying spirit is so difficult. The Lord here encourages such a devotee not to be overly depressed or morose, but to remain enthusiastic and to go on with his loving service. So this also means that loving service to Krishna does not mean that we have to judge ourselves or others that they have to be absolutely pure devotees. No. With our own conditions, you are attracted to the Lord, you are making your little bit keep on moving. The word nirvinna indicates that a sincere devotee, although somewhat entangled in the remnants of sense gratification, he is completely disgusted with material life and under no circumstances willingly commits sinful activities. In fact, he avoids every kind of materialistic activity. The word kaman basically refers to sex attraction and its byproducts in the form of home, children, and so forth. Within the material world, this impulse is so strong that even a sincere candidate in the loving service of the Lord may sometimes be disturbed or by the lingering sentiments for wife and children, etc. A pure devotee certainly feels spiritual affection for all the living entities, including the so-called wife, children, but he knows that the material bodily attraction leads to no good, for it simply entangles one and one's so-called relatives in a miserable chain of fruitive activities. So this does not mean that one does not appreciate family life. That's not the point. The point is about being overly attached. So someone who does not have a family life cannot just take it for granted, oh, I am without my wife and children, therefore I am blessed. That's a very wrong understanding. Because you would be more miserable in life without a wife and children or without a family if that is your need to progress in life. So sometimes this idea that I can worship Krishna only if I love him and no one else, it's very wrong. That's not true. Just an off point, but a pastime comes to me in my mind. In Krishna Leela, a very nice story is spoken. When Krishna started grazing the cows and the calves, one time, one cow, it got displaced from its calf. And somewhere Krishna was just roaming around and he saw this calf all alone by itself. And naturally, if the calf saw that it was all alone, it was so filled with anxiety. Because the calf was looking for its mother. Isn't it just like a small baby? When you see children, they like to play in the vicinity of the mother. If the mother or father, they'll drop the toys and they'll go. Because not seeing the mother around brings a lot of anxiety. Krishna, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you know what he did? He went to the little calf and whispered in its ear, "You're missing your mother, na? Come, I'll take you." And he took that calf to its cow, and the cow was happy, the calf was happy. Krishna became so happy. When I heard this pastime, I was so delighted that this is the nature of God, not that he artificially breaks relationships because you need to love me. Mother has no value, child has no value, husband has no value, wife has no value, society has no value. That is not the idea of detachment. Otherwise, why would Krishna whisper to a calf? He would say, anyways, your cow is material, I am the spiritual, I am now with you. He did not do that. It's a very significant thing. He tried to bring that little entity naturally closer to what can give it comfort, genuine comfort. So we have to understand these aspects also. Taking care of our responsibilities nicely, that's part of the journey for spirituality. Not being overly attached is what is being discussed here. Anyways, so the word Dhrida Nishchaya indicates that in any circumstance, a devotee is completely determined to go on with his prescribed duties for Krishna. Thus he thinks, by my previous shameful life, my heart is polluted by many illusory attachments. Personally, I have no power to stop them. Only Lord Krishna from within my heart can remove such inauspicious contamination. But whether the Lord removes such attachments immediately or lets me go afflicted by them, I will never give up my devotional service unto Him. This means we may not be able to get rid of our attachments soon, no problem. Do not attempt to artificially give up your attachments. That will always backfire. It will always backfire. So slow and gradual. Some things, most of the things in spiritual life, they develop organically. Actually, the whole universe is organic. When you say natural, what does the word natural mean? Where does the word natural come from? Nature. So when you say natural, means it is obeying the properties of nature. How does nature function? By itself, in a gradual way, right? You don't see anything. You cannot decide that now I want sunrise. No. Sunrise will come at its own time. You cannot expect for a random season coming. You cannot expect snow right now. No. That is what is called nature. It functions in a very orderly cycle. So let's say I am tormented by the heat. Of course, it's not true for Switzerland. You love the heat. It's very rare here. In India, you are tormented by it. In Florida, you are tormented by it. So, you cannot expect things to change. So nature means, although you want something else, it will come on its own accord, and it comes gradually. It's not going to suddenly snow tomorrow and suddenly it will become windy or rainy. Nothing happens suddenly. Happens gradual. And that is why whenever we say natural, you should remember this. Natural means in tune with nature. Now, just like externally, internally also our actions have to be in tune with our nature. We do speak like that. Right? It's not my nature. It's not in my nature. What do you mean that? This means that we all recognize our own individual personality to some degree, right? And say, it's not in my nature to. It's not even in my nature to let go. Some people have that tendency to always have revenge, right? Those who are warrior class, either they need to bleed or they need to take out blood from somewhere, because they are fighters. They feel accomplished by that. So it's in their nature to fight. So Krishna does not say to give up the nature. What he says, okay, it is your need to fight, to seek revenge, to conquer. Conquer for dharma, conquer for right reasons, fight for right reasons, fight for righteousness, because it's your nature. You are a singer. Okay, it's your nature always to sing. Means attracted to music. Sing for the Lord. Sing good things. Let your throat utter the vibrations which contribute to the truth. You are a speaker. Speak nice things. You are a dancer. Dance for right purposes, right reasons. So that is what is called engaging one's nature, oneself, and so on. So the next line. Even if the Lord places millions of obstacles in my path, and even if because of my offenses I go to hell, I will never for a moment stop serving Krishna. This is referring that sometimes it could be so. When you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, do you have you all heard the story of Kaliya the snake? When Krishna was playing ball and he threw it in the Yamuna, so Kaliya was residing in those waters, that snake. And he did not like the other cows and other people drinking water from there. And the snake also had this desire to kill Krishna himself. So it is explained how Krishna jumped in the Yamuna river in the pretext of rescuing the ball, and eventually Kalia caught hold of him and the snake started attacking Krishna. And Krishna started jumping on Kalia's head. So if you have, how many of you have seen that picture of Krishna jumping on Kalia's hood? Not seen? Okay. You can Google it out. It's a very nice picture. That Krishna killed that snake by jumping on the hood. The scriptures explain that the Kalia, the snake, had 1,000 hoods. And with each hood it was trying to hit Krishna. And Krishna was jumping on each hood, killing or destroying the power of each hood. But that attack of the snake, the hood on Krishna and the jumping of Krishna was such, what do you say? It was like a choreographed dance. So he's being attacked by one hood, Krishna jumps on that, and the other hood attacks, Krishna jumps on that, and it became like as if he's dancing. That's how it is explained. That Krishna made such a gruesome battle look like a beautiful dance. For those who were seeing, they were saying, oh, nice thing going on. It looks so fancy. But during that time, after the snake got defeated, Kalia offers the prayers to Krishna and says, my dear Krishna, by nature I am poisonous. All that I can offer is just poison. But since you are the absolute truth, please accept it as my service to you. It's an interesting prayer. Even demons say this, that my dear Krishna, I have so much evil tendencies, and this is why I am trying to kill you or hurt you. Please engage my evil tendencies. Means you kill me, no problem. But this is the best I can do. Because I am just trained in, I have nothing else to do. I can just do this. Couple of years ago, I met a person who came in our temple in India. He had been released from jail after about 14 years. And he was convicted for many crimes. He was also not convicted for so many crimes which he did. So, he was talking to me and he told me, he was actually a mercenary, a contract killer, a hitman. He said, I have done so many killings for big politicians and big mafias. So I said, what can I do for you? We can give you some prasad. I realized that I cannot tell him all this devotional service stuff. It'll be like too much for him. We conversed for about 1.5 hours, and I asked him, whom were you connected to, and so on. We had just a brief chat. He liked the whole conversation, hearing about Krishna and doing service and so many. He liked the whole conversation. He said, I am so happy. Whenever I come, can I meet you? Can I have your phone number? I said, you can always come and meet me, but you cannot have my phone number. Because I got concerned, if my number is on his phone and this guy gets convicted elsewhere, I'll be on the radar. I said, you can always come and meet me. And I told him, you can give me your number, but I'm not comfortable to give you mine. He said, don't worry, I won't do anything. I said, I know you won't do anything, at least not with me. So we developed a friendship. Couple of times he kept coming and we kept meeting. Then one day he told, Prabhu, the only thing I can do is to fight and kill. You engage me in this. So I said, you should join the government, like, become part of the police or the military, something. You can do that, fight. He said, that's not possible because I have such a bad record. But if someone does something wrong to you, let me know. Count on me, I'm always there for you. And I was like, oh, I have some people in my mind. But this guy, he'll just... So anyways, the point is, sometimes some nature of us is not so good, but we are so helpless in fighting that, no problem. Have faith in Krishna. Your actions may lead you to something wrong. You will be punished by the society if you do wrong. Krishna is not justifying your actions, but he's saying, at least keep meditating on me. Eventually you'll get rid of it. The whole art of engagement or engaging in bhakti yoga is just that. No matter where we are, we start beginning to connect with Krishna some way, in some manner. So the demons also, when Ravan was fighting against Ram, he also realized at some point of time that actually, seriously, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the truth. So many people told me all this while I did not take it seriously, but he's really, because I am not winning. And every warrior, no matter, in like boxing championship, if two fighters come against each other, in the very first round they know who is winning. Maybe it may take 9 rounds to declare the winner. But the very first round, both of them know very nicely who is more talented. And sometimes the less talented also becomes victorious. It's possible by the mistakes of the talented one. But they know that who is the better amongst both. In the case of the demons also, when they fight with Krishna, they very well sense it in the beginning itself, that this is not a guy whom you can mess around with. But then they find fulfillment in engaging their propensities, because sometimes the propensities, your own propensities hurt you. They hurt us so much within, tendencies. They create havoc. So Krishna is saying, no problem. Material nature will punish you for your mistakes, no problem. But keep your faith in me. Keep chanting my name. So that's one. So even if I may go to hell because of my offenses, it is possible. Don't blame the Lord. Oh, I was chanting your name, still I went to hell. No, your actions led you there. But I will not give up. I will never for a moment stop serving Krishna. Therefore, I sincerely repent my foolish attachments to so many material things, and I am patiently awaiting Lord's mercy. These were Lord Brahma's prayers. Tattenu kampam sushamikshama. Rit vag vapur bhir vidadan namaste. A person who is sincerely wanting the mercy of the Lord, he is always in that mood to seek the mercy of Krishna always. So 3 things are very important for any person who wants to progress in the path of bhakti. Tapa means our life must have some element of tapasya. Tapasya means some difficulty or inconveniences which we voluntarily put on ourselves. If in life, see how beautiful is innocent sound, right? I am speaking eloquent Bhagavatam, but that's not attractive as much as it's coming from here. That is the power of purity. Sound of innocence is always sweeter and more nourishing. So tapaha has to be part of our life. If we do not voluntarily bring on some kind of inconvenience, some discipline upon us, then the inconvenience will come from external means, then that hurts us. I recognize this in my life always. If I have less of tapasya, less of austerities, automatically devotees around me start hurting me. Like they don't do consciously, but my mind starts getting... And when I start doing some austerities myself, automatically, see, we all have a karma. I must suffer this much, I must enjoy this much. part of your suffering, if you do it with discipline and austerity, then the nature does not need to give you that. This is a very smart way of avoiding external conflicts. Increase your internal heat. Tapasya. Voluntary. So every devotee must have this. Tapaha. Second is swadhyaya. One must have a regular reading and hearing. A person can never develop a good culture just by simply engaging in service. The aspect of hearing is very important. Otherwise, you will just simply keep doing things and services, but you are not culturing your mind and emotions properly. So one who does not listen properly, one who does not hear properly, will not be able to engage in service also for a longer time. So swadhyaya means reading and hearing should always be an integral part of our life as a daily basis, daily activity. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. One must do that. And then third is Ishvara Pranidhan, worshipping the deities or doing some services. So when these three things are done, that brings a very strong foundation for bhakti to flourish. Tapaha, Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhan. Very, very important aspects. So I'd like to stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? Maybe 5 minutes. We are already. Yes.
You said earlier that when you have sincerity, you get tested or you get more challenged. You said earlier when you have sincerity, you get more tested, more challenged. But sincerity, in my understanding, comes from the heart, from the willingness with the heart to connect with God, with Krishna. But then, what is really to be sincere? Because if I believe I'm sincere, which is a big thing to say, I'm not saying I am, but then at the same time, you said we must do all those tapasya, reading, hearing, service. But I would like you to clarify this in a deeper way about sincerity and challenge with sincerity and what is true sincerity. Haribol, thank you for this wonderful class.
Yeah, so in the beginning we were discussing how struggling our own weaknesses is a journey in itself, right? We do not make progress overnight. So sincere person means he's keeping on to the struggle with oneself. The more sincere you become, that simply means you are very sincere or you are keeping up to the struggle with yourself. And that's what I said, what I meant is, the more sincere you become, the more you will feel that you are struggling. If a devotee is struggling, that means he is sincere. If a devotee is struggling to follow some things nicely, let's say, if I struggle to read regularly, if I struggle to hear regularly, if I struggle to chant sincerely, if I struggle to do services with nice attitude, to do service with a mood of sincerity, with humility, with compassion, with kindness, it's a struggle, right?
Yes.
So the more sincere you are, the more it will appear that you are struggling more. Because you have to constantly fight with yourself. And when you fight with yourself, you will win in some of those fights. You will not win in all those battles. When you win in some battles, you progress or you advance. When we call advancement is not in number of years of chanting or something. It is number of years of conquest of your internal struggles. So, the more sincere you are, the more the struggle will appear. And the more you succeed in the struggle, the more is the advancement.
That's a big challenge. I mean, it's
But
not easy.
that is the only thing which we have to do, right? Otherwise, there is no journey at all.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the only thing which we have to do. And this verse says, in that journey, even if you don't succeed, don't be morose, don't become hopeless. It is okay. That is the verse which we were discussing. And in Bhakti Yoga, this is very essential because it's part of emotion. Otherwise, we give up. We feel emotionally distressed. I am not succeeding at all. Krishna says, don't worry. There are many things of many lifetimes which are going on. So you may not immediately get the result. But still keep connected. Keep me in the center of your life.
So you mean, you just said, so you don't look at it for here now? Yes, here now is this life, but you also are okay within yourself to know maybe it will take a long journey, but doesn't matter, that's the goal. Meaning many life, perhaps.
But be in the journey.
Yes.
That's why I gave this example of this man. He said, only thing I can do is kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, literally he said that. The only thing I can do is kill.
But
Engage me. So
did this man was engaged and to do it otherwise?
so that is a very controversial discussion.
Yes, sorry.
I had a lot of discussions and he's very nicely engaged. He's very nicely engaged. Very nicely engaged. But not in a legal way. So I'll tell you, many governments, many countries and many police departments have this system of keeping such people doing certain jobs which the police cannot do by themselves. They contract it, outsource it to and they give some, I don't know whether it happens in Switzerland, but it happens in America, it's in India, many places. So they get special ID cards for a few months to accomplish certain tasks. So he's nicely engaged. But it's a very complex process. That the idea which we are discussing is, he is now connected to a righteous cause with his most evil propensities. He is on the right path. Maybe this life or maybe next life he'll be out of it. Then probably he'll be just amongst all of us like a simple devotee playing mridang. If he remembers his past life, he'll know, don't mess around with me. Huh? You don't know who am I. So the more sincere you are, there will be struggle. It's okay.